DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's show where we talk about DJ things with DJs who are out there working in the field. Yeah, that sounds good. I like that one. I might keep this one, Howie.
Sounds good to me.
I might do this one a couple of times. Tonight's guest, we've got Howie Darkstar with us. Good evening, Howie.
Good evening, John. Good to be on.
Yeah. Thanks for being on tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about, well, a lot of you've seen some of Howie's videos. Howie is one of these guys that has skills and abilities that I don't even come close to having. He actually can take and see problems, fix the problems, create things where I look at that and it's like completely mind-blown. It's just not my forte. And what I wanted to do, Howie, tonight is kind of talk about those times when, because you have these skill and abilities to make and build and create, and there's times where I know you have gone out and looked for solutions where you have purchased pieces to utilize. I want to kind of start out by talking about a couple of the things that you have built so people have a point of reference, and then we'll get into kind of talking more about when you decide to build as opposed to purchase.
Okay, sounds good.
So let's start off with some of the things that have the Howie Darkstar originals.
All righty. And which one did you have in mind?
Let's hit both of a couple of them. You've got a few of them that we've talked about in past shows. Let's talk about, you've got your battery pack, and you've been working on some lighting things with modifying some lights and such. So whatever you've got handy, let's jump into it.
Okay, well, the first one, I guess it's probably the most famous one, would be what Brian calls the Howie box, and it was just a need that had to be filled. And it turned into a niche market for me because what it is it's a AA battery powered amplifier and mixer. And depending on the configuration, I'm up to version 4 right now, and it uses the Go rack, but that's obsolete. So I went and I purchased a small Rolls mixer that works off of batteries.
Okay.
And I've used that, and it works really well. And the reason is that I was doing a lot of picnics in the summertime. And for me to power that, it was running very long extension cords, and they were bringing hot plates. I mean, it's always different people each year, and they try to be helpful, and that no fault of theirs. It's like, oh, I made this wonderful dish, and I'm bringing this hot plate, and they plug it in, and boom, the power goes out, and so does the sound.
Yep.
So I went there, and I built this, and I tested it, and anything that I put out there, it's not look at what I just made. I tested this for a few years. And then when I put it out there and I built that one for Brian, and Jimmy won that one at the auction, it's a proven design that does work. And I approached Ben, who's, wow, I mean, a kindred spirit if there ever was one. I mean,
Yeah.
we just clicked, and I said, and I don't know everything, but I know the people that do.
Mm-hmm.
So I reached out to Ben and I said, Ben, this is what I have. Here's the math. Here's the science. And he looked at it and he goes, wow, this is going to work. I said, yeah, now I need a speaker. I want a top quality speaker. And he said, I have a touring grade speaker from Electro Voice I recommend. And it is the ELX 112P, which is the forerunner of the now famous ELX 200 series.
Mm-hmm.
Except the cabinet is wood and it sounds wonderful and has that warm sound to it with wood. And I've actually have a niche market now that I do on Sunday afternoons. So in this particular case, it was necessity was the mother of that invention. I don't know. I mean, it's just a God-given thing that I have this in my head and those skills. And I just put it to paper and then I put it into practice. And then I reached out to some other experts and Ben helped me out with the choice and I couldn't be happier.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that one went over. And the side benefit of that is I belong to another group with some super duper heavy hitters in electronics, and it's called DIY Audio.
Okay.
And we have people in there like I know Ben would know who these people are that build huge sound systems and have companies and PhD people in there and so forth and so on. And that's I learned an awful lot from them as well as far as building that and getting a good clean sound. And the guys from Meyer Sound, Nelson Pass from First Watt, all these real heavy hitters. And,
Sure.
and so that's where I learned, this particular generation of electronics for amplifiers. So
in that particular case, you built this out of the necessity because there really wasn't anything like that out there at the time.
No, there wasn't. And you know what the nice byproduct was for everyone else, because everybody knows it's like I'm an artist. I live life as art. I'm really happy. I don't owe anybody any money. I'm not looking to make a fortune. And everybody said, oh, you got to build these. And I'm like, no, then I'm getting up at 7 a.m. and punching a clock and I'm working a factory and I'm hiring people. And then I got to, this guy can't come in and then I'm doing payroll. I don't want anything to do with that. But we did shake the tree because I noticed from the other forums that I'm in, like the one I talked about, the industry people are spying, mm-hmm. the Chinese in particular. We have actually designed circuits in there. And the board that I use in that amp that I built was actually made by a friend, the printed circuit board, and then we solder our own parts onto it.
Okay. The
Chinese are making them and selling those things for $20. You can buy them on eBay. Mm. They actually, you look at the board and it's an exact copy of the one that my friend built. And I noticed that when guys like Brian and myself are doing things, we're shaking that tree. We're hey, we're doing this. There's a need for a battery powered speaker. 2 years later, you got the Maui 5 Go out there now.
Yeah.
And Brian and I laugh about that. It's like, there is real power in the small guys like us doing this on our own. I would love to have been able to help out all those people that wanted to buy it, but that's just not me. I'm not a manufacturer.
For sure.
But somebody else stepped up and picked up the ball, and I gave it away freely. I'm like, take it. Mm-hmm. It's not hard. If that's your business to manufacture, take the idea and run with it. And they did. Mm-hmm. And and they're loving it. Brian loves his Maui 5 Go.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That he does. So when you're looking at, obviously we all have these moments where it's like, oh, if I only had How do you,
Yes.
when do you draw the line as far as when you decide to, if I only have to, and you go to solve the solution, and if I only have it, it's just not worth getting into? I mean, I look at if I only had, and I look at that most of them because of my abilities that, yeah, that'd be really cool, but I can't do it. You have the skill to do it, but there's going to be even times when you like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to tackle that project. Where's that line?
The line would be, for me, just because I do things just because I can. But the only line that I have is monetary. Is it worth it? Is the juice worth the squeeze?
I like that.
That's where my line. That's where I draw the line. I do have a lot of devices that, and the other really, really, really important line that I draw is when I share these ideas freely. I will never ever do a video or publish anything that has to do with lethal voltage. I'm a licensed electrician like Ben is, but I would never give advice out there for that, because people will put disclaimers. And some people do this, and they'll say, oh, only do that if you're a qualified electrician. Nobody pays attention to that. People take a chance. People get hurt. People can die. So that's the line in the sand that I draw. However, other things, yes, where it's hardware or battery operated, low voltage, that I'll give out freely, and I'll do that.
So let's bounce back to the Howie box. Now, the Howie box uses AA batteries, but
Yes.
you're using a lot of AA's. So that isn't that getting to be kind of a high voltage application?
No, it's not, because the top voltage for me to drive those ELX 112Ps to ear-shattering levels is it's only 30 volts DC.
Okay.
And the current on that is less than 3 amps. So it's not dangerous.
Okay. And I guess I haven't looked at I've just seen the pictures and what you've shown with it, but I just wasn't sure if it converted over to 110 volts and such.
Oh, no. Never ever goes to AC at all. Yeah, that's a lot of people have asked that, whether it's a inverter or anything. It is not. Everything, all your powered speakers, your PAR lights that work off of 110, like this here.
Yeah.
The actual operating circuit is DC. The only thing they're doing, they're plugging into a wall AC, and then they're converting it to DC. Okay. And all of your electronic circuits run off of DC, and it's all low voltage, low current, and LEDs hardly take any current at all. And that's what led me to make this new conversion that I've done that I'll be using this Saturday.
Well, let's talk about that conversion. That's where I wanted to head to here. Is that now that's a situation where you had an item, but you modified it so it would be more useful for your situation.
Yes. What happened was I did what's it 6 or 8 weeks ago? I did a cancer benefit. And Brian had just prior to that lit up the whole front of that one rotunda with the Ape Lab lights. And I was really intrigued with the Ape Lab lights, but not so much with the price for my business model. And I noticed they are using nickel metal hydrate batteries, which is my battery of choice for engineering and safety reasons, as opposed to the lithium ion. Now, here is a major company going against the grain, because everybody that has those battery powered PARs out there and the uplights, they're lithium.
Yeah, they've gone to lithium.
And I already had this stuff, and I have the technology, I have the smart charger, and I said, a big company's doing it, and I'm doing it. I must be onto something. if they're embracing that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to uplight this building because the thing was lighted pink. And they did a big tree lighting, and then I had to do the building. However, they were going to have the doors useful, and it's a big ornate building. And I was not going to run a cable across there. But I also could not afford to spend $350 to $400 for a battery powered light. So this is what I came up with. This is just I actually have the two of them. I have the Mega Hex Pars and the Mega Tripar Profile Pluses.
Mm-hmm.
Look what's on the bottom now.
You added a battery pack to it. It looks like
there it is, and it's Velcroed on. So I just Velcro that on and plug it in, and can you see there's a switch here? And this is a double pole, double throw switch. Yeah. So this can still be used as plug in the wall style light.
Yeah.
When I needed it for that event, I made it battery powered.
There we are.
And there we go. Now, if I decide, okay, I'm not going to be using battery power, off, peel this off, unplug it, then I switch it over with the double pole, double throw switch, and now I can just plug into it and plug it into the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, $350 to $400 for the uplights, which, by the way, have the same 5 LEDs in them. Believe it or not, I take stuff apart. It's off the shelf items. Really, they really are. When they make these, it's like, okay, we're going to make like 1 million of these. Mm-hmm. No, they're making 10,000 of different parts that are in there that'll fit multiple lights. And so what I have here now is I can make this into my choice to make it wireless is the Wi-Fi. I have a ton of these. And of course, there are people that are using the Donners that would work well with the Donners. And it was just a matter of completing the mission.
Right.
You know, I needed to light this up, but for a one-off, I did the conversion for $30. So if you're going to get a light, you get a par for $90. And if you paid full retail, which I already had all this stuff, $30. So for $120, I have a quality uplight that I already know all of the traits on this light.
Right.
I already had the programs in my computer.
Oh yeah. Sure, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you would. And just needed a power source.
Now you remember the Irish pub, and you had mentioned online when you were online. They said, and Howie's got 96 scenes there on the computer. I have 96 because that's all the tiles that'll fit on the 17-inch AC. So I filled it up. And the reason for that is Ben did a wonderful video years ago and about DMX lighting and color matching and so forth like that. And one thing that really stuck out to me was when he said, okay, you have a red light and you shine it on a bright yellow wall. You don't have a red light visually. It's going to be orange.
Yep.
So the reason that I had so many different scenes and different colors is because I can, right over here in front of me, I have my 100-inch screen. So when I'm making programs and fades and rainbow chases, I will make them for white. But then I will go 3 shades hotter up and warmer down.
Sure.
In case I get into a room that has a beige wall or a green wall. And I get in there, and that happened at the wedding when they said, our colors are such and such. They started with plum and white, and then the lady came up at the last minute and that was paying for the wedding. And she said, we changed our color scheme. Can you do amber? And it was so nice to be able to say, yes. And then with the click of a mouse, I just went through and I changed the uplighting in the room.
Right.
You would have thought I gave her $1 million. But I couldn't use the amber that looked good on the white screen because of the color of the walls. I had to go a little bit hotter. I went 2 steps hotter so that it still appeared to be amber in that environment. And that's the only reason, like, you see 96 scenes, it's like, are you going to use them all? No, but they're there if I need them. So, you know, that was another necessity because, back in the day, I learned the hard way that, oh no, I mean, why would I create that on the spot when I could just load the screen and pick one in an instant?
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. I never thought about that, Howie, that having the different variations for the different types of colored walls. I don't know why we've never talked about that before.
Yeah, and the other trick we used, if you saw any of the pictures from that wedding, if you look at the booth, if you ever look at any of my booths, and Brian did a video on this about the train wreck and the deer in the headlights look, where people will have those pars like right out at you. Mine always point up because they're 60-degree dispersion anyway, but I use the ceiling because most ceilings are white. And I use the ceiling bounce and everybody's lit up. The eye candy's still there and the people are lit. And that's what you want.
Yeah, for sure. You want that refraction off that ceiling.
Exactly.
Much nicer. Howie, we've got a few more minutes here, and then we're going to need to bounce. So what projects are you working on right now? If you can share some of the what's on the workbench, Howie?
Do I tell or do I tell?
Well, Jimmy's taking credit for pretty much. Jimmy's taking credit for everything you've done because he's like, yeah, it was Jimmy's idea first.
Actually, you know, Jimmy has been helpful because I take my cues from people like Jimmy and from the audience when they say, can you do this? And one of his ideas that I've implemented was really good was he said, hey, can you make a blackout in between color changes? And the auto generate won't do that. So I had to go in between each individual step and make a blackout. I mean, it was a little time consuming, 20 minutes out of my life, but it really is a spectacular effect. So yeah, I get inspiration from everybody. And I certainly get inspiration this Saturday when I do this Christmas party for the artists, because it's going to be that, you know, a lot of old friends from Manhattan and so forth. And there'll be artists and sculptors and painters, and, you know, I'll be playing for them and just looking at their art and gathering ideas. And I'll have some interesting things coming up in the future. But the biggest thing, I guess, the next thing will be how to do this yourself. $30. I mean, there are people that it's just not in their budget to spend $400 on an uplight.
Yep.
And so you already have these. I mean, these are out there by the millions. You can convert it to a battery uplight for $30. You really can.
Yeah.
So that would be the big thing that I'll do.
Yeah, and it looks so clean now. What you've done looks very presentable. It doesn't look like it's been just kind of hot.
Well, exactly. It doesn't look homemade. It's like, my big thing is fit and finish. Yeah. I mean, here, even the legs, will work. I could hang it if I wanted to, by the yoke. Yeah. So, and it's black. It looks like it was made that way.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely looks good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Howie, if people would like to reach out to you and share some ideas or ask some questions, what's the best way for them to reach you?
I'm going to put a plug in for you then. I'm going to say, look me up on the Disc Jockey News TV Insider. Join up.
Yeah.
And that is where you'll get the exclusive. I'm not going to put this out to the public. When I do this video, you're going to have to go to the Insider to find out how to convert your lights to an uplight for $30.
Yeah.
So the price of admission to the Insider is going to pay for itself on your first light.
There you are. And you guys can go and check that out at DJNTVinsider.com. And that Facebook group is where we share a lot of great content and share ideas and ask questions and such. Great group of people to be talking with on a regular basis, for surely. Well, Howie, I want to thank you for your time tonight. Great information and some neat projects that you've been involved with there, and I'm excited to see how you did that whole project with that light, because I've taken one apart to look at it because there was an issue, and I figured, well, it's broken anyway. And with the circuit boards and different things, it's like, oh yeah, no, I don't know what I'm looking at, but I'll definitely be looking forward to your video, because I do think I've got a couple of lights that I could retrofit and be able to make them wireless like that. So
it's very easy, but you will have to join up.
That we will. So, all right. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. We're going to be back in about 5 minutes with Ben Stowe tonight.
Ben, thank you.